Mentor lawyer. This is the 6th anniversary of the death of Corne Poole and Lance Love. Lance Love was murdered first. Corne Poole was second. Lance Love also lost his dog, his pet. The murder was senseless. A young man is alleged to have committed it, Mr. Walter Cole Rayborn. It is alleged that he entered the apartment where Lance Love lived, and in an effort to try to rob him of drugs and money while high on Xanax, and I'm talking about Walter Cole Rayborn, he held him for about an hour or so, tried to torture them in a sense while he tried to convince them to reveal where the money was and where the drugs were. Eventually took them to the bathroom, made them sit on the bathtub, and shot both of them. Lance Love was shot in the forehead. It looks like he died instantly. Corne Poole was watching it. Next, it was the turn of Cornelius Poole, who goes by Corne Poole, and Corne was begging for his life. Walter Cole Rayborn did not spare him. Instead, he shot him 2 or 3 times. Lance Love had a family, had parents that miss him very much. Corne Poole was, in essence, raised via the he didn't have parents that raised him. He was raised through the assistance of the state. He did have a lot of friends in that community who miss him very much. And obviously I know the Lance Love parents obviously were deeply hurt, and his sisters were deeply hurt by what happened to Lance. These 2 victims were in their early 20s. I think one was 22. If I recall correctly, Lance Love was 22 and Corne Poole was 21 when they were senselessly murdered. So because today is their 6th anniversary of their murder, and because there were 3 people who were accused. Walter Cole Rayborn was accused of the murder itself. He's being charged with first-degree murder, and the state is seeking the death penalty against him. His case is still pending. There are no news other than the fact that he recently changed attorneys. The prior lawyers have collected some money, but the new lawyers are catching up. The new lawyers just filed a motion to hire an investigator to help. So in essence, just a lot of money being spent on defending this guy. He's also trying to throw himself into the Dan Markel case. He wrote letters to the defense attorney for Catherine McManua, claiming that Luis Rivera told him that Georgia Cappleman was using hand signs and color-coded folders to try to guide Luis Rivera's testimony. I think it's total BS. I would like to prove that. I can actually order not the television footage of the trial of the testimony of Luis Rivera, but I can order for, it will cost me a few $100s, the testimony of Luis Rivera as captured by the cameras from the court system. Those cameras would catch the defense table as well as the witness. And the images are pretty awful. You guys saw the trials that I published in the Hoyt Birch case, for example. But it's good enough that you're going to be able to tell if somebody's doing hand signals or placing color-coded cards to try to guide the testimony of Luis Rivera. In any way, going back to the double murder of Lance Love and Cornelius Poole. So the case against Walter Cole Rayborn is still pending. The state's still seeking the death penalty. The trial has not happened yet. The second defendant, whose case is still pending, is his girlfriend. That would be Delinda Mercedes Aguirre, and her case is for being an accessory after the fact. And that case is also still pending. And we're talking about 6 years removed from the murder. Finally, you have Brandon Chisholm, who obviously has cooperated with the state. I have his statement, I have his interview, I also have his polygraph exam on the channel. You can check out this playlist, it has a lot of materials in it. There's two of them for some reason. I think the one that is called Lance Love and Corne Poole original playlist is the one that I would go to. I do not know why I have two playlists, but I do. I will play a few videos for you guys to check out from those playlists right now in honor of the two victims. So let me go ahead and do that. We are starting with the surveillance footage that catches the killer going into and out of the apartment. This is Walter Cole Rayborn walking out, taking off his clothes. He just jumped out of an apartment that was on fire, and he's a little bit confused, trying to find Brandon Chisholm, who drove him to the location. These are the surveillance videos from the apartment complex where the double murders, and the murder of the dog as well took place. So I'm going to be showing this for a little bit, and then I'll switch to the introduction to the case, and I'm also going to show the video that I did about one of the victims, Corne Poole, and then I may play something else from the list. As you can see in the top right corner, you can see Brandon Chisholm and Walter Core Rayborn walking into the apartment complex right there. Brandon Chisholm is the person who, in essence, suggested to Walter Core Rayborn that Lance Love could be a good target because Mr. Walter Cole Rayburn, who was fresh out of prison, needed some cash and wanted to rob a drug dealer. And Lance Love sold a little bit of dope, not much. He was a small-time guy. Really, he was thinking about quitting selling altogether. He had a regular job. Luckily for his roommate, that's Brandon Chisholm walking out on the top right corner, walking out of the complex and waiting because Brandon did not want to be involved in the murder itself. He just wanted to show Walter where the apartment was. Initially, both of them were going to go in, but Brandon Chisholm backed out of it. Hello, GM Flower and Brianna and Christine. And I already said hi to Kathy and Matt. I'm going to go back to mute. This is at 2x speed, so you can rush through it. You'll see at some moment later, you're going to see Walter Core Rayburn walking out of the apartment, trying to look for where Brandon is waiting for him. Brandon had driven away, so he calls Brandon, and eventually they meet up, and Brandon takes him to his place, where he goes and takes a shower with his girlfriend. I'm talking about Walter. Walter takes a shower with the Linda Mercedes Aguirre, and later she actually washes him off with bleach in an effort to erase any possible evidence of the fact that he was involved in this double murder. So this happened early morning hours of July the 5th. So July 4th happened. People were celebrating, having fun. Lance Love had gone out that night. And Cornelius Poole joined him at his apartment. So Corne Poole was just visiting, was hanging out with his friend Lance Love. They had gone to the same high school. They're just hanging out. And like I said, the roommate of Lance Love was out of town when this murder happened, so the roommate was not a victim. Got lucky. I have several interviews on the case, interrogations. Like I said, I have the lie detector test that was done on the cooperating defendant, Brandon Chisholm. So this video will go for a few minutes, and then I'm going to switch to the introduction that I did. I'm going to go by myself. I'm going to go back to mute, and I'll rejoin you guys shortly.
I'm in a community of people that have my back.
Every time you log in, I'll be here for you.
This is immediately after the murder when he's walking out. He's a little groggy. He almost didn't get out of the apartment. He actually was so dizzy he jumped out through a window and left some blood on the window because he broke the glass and got cut. That's how they caught him. So his DNA was on the window. And somebody witnessed as he, yes, that's correct, Matt. So somebody witnessed as he jumped out of the window. And a little bit later, this person noticed smoke coming out and called the fire. So let's just go to that. All right, I'm going to share another video with you guys for a little bit. Before I do the introduction, let me show you the accused, the main person, the guy who is accused of having committed the murder. So this is Walter Cole Rayborn. He has neo-Nazi tattoos all over his neck that he got in prison. I'm going to speed this up. You guys can watch the original, of course. You can watch the original on my channel on the playlists for this case. I will go to the Love and Corne Poole original playlist.
I want to get close up, turn around. Here.
He has a swastika there. I guess that's where the blood came from, I guess, when he was going through the window.
I can pull it up and put it on through the normal and zip it up in front. I appreciate it.
What?
Yeah.
eat before I go to sleep. I get there in the morning, I wake up, throw in a volcano on my chest. It's miserable. You take meds for it? I'll eat like Rolaids and Tums and stuff, but I'm not a big fan of too many medications. It just went out. I gotta go get a we got a black blue too. No, buddy. You gonna come out and just there, it looks like somebody gang with it. You'll let me just do that.
Here's something I wish I knew. If you owe less than $356,362 on your home,
I'm just talking about like the other SEC files with. Because I'm in the meeting, I just thought to eat that up. All right, I'm out for it. All right, thank you. There's your copy. As promised. I'll see where transport's at. Give me 2 seconds before we start talking.
I think at the end there, he's there with his criminal defense attorney. Is a lady who went to law school with me. And at the same time, it appears that the lawyer, was talking to Aguirre, who was being interviewed by law enforcement. All right, let's switch to the introduction, guys.
He's been doing first degree murders for the longest, like for 30 years, maybe 4 years. And he likes it, like he's good, he's thrilled. There's other people, they just want to get their paycheck, because everybody gets court wanted to. They first degree murder, they get like 25 grand.
In the early morning hours after the July 4th. Mentor lawyer, this is an introduction to the murder of Lancelot and Cornelius Poole. This was a double homicide in good old Tallahassee, Florida, the capital of the state of Florida, back in 2015. It happened in the early morning hours after the July 4th celebrations. So on July 5, 2015, the victims are 2 young men. Lancelot was only 22 years old, a graduate of Godby High School, and his younger friend, 21-year-old Cornelius Poole. The murder happened at Lancelot's apartment, where he lived with his dog, which also died in the incident, and the roommate that, luckily for the roommate, was out of town when the murder happened. Unluckily for Cornelius, he was visiting Lance on the night in question. The accused are 3 different people. The accused killer, and there is overwhelming evidence against him, is Walter Cole Rayborn. He was also in his 20s, a young man who had a troubled life from a prominent family here in Tallahassee, but he had been serving time in prison and had been released from a prior conviction. I think it was for burglary and credit card fraud. So he had been released just a few months earlier. 3 or 4 months into his release, he commits, allegedly, this double murder. The other 2 people charged in the case are Brandon Chisholm and the girlfriend of Walter Cole Rayborn, whose name is Delinda Mercedes Aguirre. Delinda
goes by Mercedes. I'm not sure if that's her middle name. It may be. But she was charged as an accessory after the fact for basically helping clean out her boyfriend, allegedly with bleach, and doing other things to help him get away with what he did. Brandon was charged with the first-degree murder of the two young men because he helped Walter pick the location for this robbery, and took him there, and then eventually picked him up after the murder. But he got a deal, and I think he only got 15
That's the
years
window
for
that he
doing the
jumped
deal
through
and
right
agreeing
there.
to testify against Walter Cole Rayborn. Although this murder took place in 2015, the cases against Walter Cole Rayborn and Delinda Mercedes Aguirre are still pending.
You
The
saw
state of
some
Florida
crime scene
is
photos
seeking the
there.
death penalty against Cole Rayborn.
The prosecutor in the case is Georgia Kappelman. Mr. Rayborn has written to the currently presiding judge on the case about Ms. Kappelman making accusations against her, trying to get her off the case. Mr. Rayborn is in jail, and he has been in jail all this time. He is represented by a private attorney, a very good attorney, Nathan Prince, the same one who was the defense attorney in the trial of Henry Segura. And his co-counsel will be Charles Hobbs. He has been declared indigent for costs, so Mr. Prince has requested the hiring of an investigator and a multitude number of experts to help in the defense of Mr. Rayborn, and all of that's going to be paid for by the state. It appears that Mr. Prince agreed to take the defense of this young man for a total fee of $50,000. Miss Aguirre apparently
that information about the lawyers and about how much they're going to be making is already invalid. The Nathan Prince and the second chair, who was not Mr. Hobbs, but eventually became Clyde Taylor, they both had to be substituted recently by two lawyers from Central and South Florida. They already collected some money. It looks like they're going to be billing hourly in this case because of the complex nature of it. So, that part of the video is already been made obsolete. Let me share with you guys another video from the playlist. I made a video in honor of one of the victims. I was contacted by several young people who knew him. He used to work at Publix, and he, like I said, he was sort of an orphan or abandoned as a child. So he grew up in different homes, group homes, and so he has several young friends who I guess saw him as a brother or sister, as their brother. I guess obviously they may be girls, and so they would be sort of like his sister. And so I made a video just about him. Let me share that with you guys. Again, the murder happened exactly 6 years ago. We still don't have a trial against the two main culprits and defendants. Well, one of the defendants pled, so there's two that are remaining charged. One is as accessory after the fact, that's Delinda Aguirre, and then Walter Cole Rayborn with the actual murder, but neither one of them has had a trial yet. In trouble with another video in the double murder of Lance Love and Cornelius Poole. This case involves a double murder in Tallahassee on July 5, 2015. The victims, again, were Lance Love, who was 22 at the time, and Cornelius Poole, who was 21. This video is about Poole, who was better known as Corne Poole. The accused are Brandon Chisholm, the driver, and Walter Cole Rayborn, the alleged killer / jackboy, and Delinda Mercedes Aguirre, the alleged cleaner of Rayborn. Brandon cut a deal and is serving time. The case against Walter and Mercedes were still pending. I have previously done an introduction video for this case. The gist of this case, according to investigators, is that Walter wanted to be a jackboy, to rob a drug dealer, and Brandon suggested a target and drove him there. That target was Lance Love. The two young men, Brandon and Walter, then drove to Lance Love's place, and when they got there, Brandon tried to back out, at least according to Brandon's own confession. But Walter went forward with it. In the process, he broke into the apartment and shot the two people who were inside, Lance Love and Corne Poole, and then set the place on fire. A dog on the premises also passed away. This particular video is not so much about the crime, but it is rather about the second victim, Corne Poole, because we know the sequence. Lance Love was the first victim. Corne watched his friend Lance Love being murdered, and then the final victim was Corne. Little was known about Corne before. All I knew through my research was that he was 21 when he died, that he worked at public supermarkets in the deli section, that he had gone to school with Lance Love, and that he did not seem to have a close family in Tallahassee. At least I have not seen any information about any parents or grandparents involved in seeking justice for him or mourning him after the murder. After I started covering this case, I received a comment to one of my videos from someone who claimed to have known Corne. I communicated with this person via email, and she agreed to share some information and photos about Corne upon my request. My reasoning for asking for this information from this person was that so little was known about Corne, and I thought that he deserved some attention as well. So in this video, I'm sharing the information and the photos that I received from this young lady. So here we go. I'm pretty much going to read what I received from her, and she may be doing an interview with me in the future. Here we go. Corne Poole was an ambitious young man and wise beyond his years. I met him when we were teenagers, when we both lived at the same group home. Everybody on the group home campus loved him and looked up to him. He came from a lot of hardships and struggles, but you would never know it if you happened to meet him. He didn't disclose a lot of what happened during his childhood because it was a part of his life that he realized didn't define him or his future. He liked to joke around and laugh, but he also loved to motivate people. When I was the newest person at the group home, I was shy and closed off, but he always made the effort to talk to me and make me laugh. We shared the same bus to go to school, and when I would get picked on or yelled at, he always made an effort to stick up for me. Eventually, we both left the group home, but always stayed in touch over the years. He loved writing songs, poetry, and philosophical rants, documenting his thoughts and feelings about life and society. He was always dedicated to finding legitimate jobs and achieving the stability he deserved in life, but he also loved having fun with friends and living life to the fullest. He had a contagious smile, and I have never known him to speak hate towards anybody. This was a man with potential and a bright future which was stolen from him. Another friend of Cornell says, open quotations, Cornell was the funniest and positive person I've ever been around. Everything out of his mouth was a joke, even when the situation was serious. Cornell was always the smartest person in the room, and he loved to let everybody know that as well. He didn't have much in life growing up, but he always made sure his friends and family were always happy and stable. That's what I love about that man. Andrew. Now, here is what another person from that same group home says. Even though Cornell was quiet most of the time, he was one of the coolest brothers. I remember our weekend football games where we would play outside of Carlton Cottage. He would never go easy on us just to make sure we worked for our win. All of the younger kids loved him. We loved him. We still miss him. Close quotations. Brittany. So that's all I got for this video. I wanted to share this information about this murder victim, the tragic murder that happened on that fateful night right after the July 4th celebration. One moment of craziness, of Xanax overdose, and two young lives of two good, kind-hearted people, from everything I've seen, was lost forever. Thanks for watching. Mentor Lawyer.
Name again. I've got it written somewhere, but what? Spell it.
Capital D-E, capital L-Y-N-D-A.
And your last name was A.
Aguirre, A-G-U-I-R-R-E.
All right. And do you have a number you can be reached at?
661-7894.
And obviously, you know what's going on, why you're here today. I believe you reached out to Mr. Way. This is your legal representation for this interview. I'm the lead investigator on a case involving, is this your boyfriend, or what is your current relationship with Walter or Cole?
As of now, we're not together, but
Previously, you guys were in a relationship?
Yeah.
Okay. And that would be what kind of was like a romantic relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend type thing? And a lot of these questions I'm asking, I know the answers to, but just getting clarification and getting you to tell me versus me hearing it from other people and stuff like that. Okay. So you obviously know what happened. And again, I'm hearing this stuff secondhand, but I want to hear it from you. So you can just start at the beginning and tell me what happened and what you know about the whole thing. And I'll ask you some questions and clarify some things. But I do want to say I appreciate your willingness to come in here. This is a very serious thing, and it takes a lot of courage to come in here. And I do appreciate that. And I appreciate you being strong enough to come in here and do that. It's not an easy thing to do. I mean, the easy thing to do would be to, turn and run, but this is the right thing to do. So I just ask you to be truthful. That's the biggest thing here. Just be honest, be forthcoming. If you don't know the answer to a question, it's okay to say I don't know. Don't feel like you have to answer something the way I want it answered.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's just start at the beginning and tell me what you know about the incident and what occurred, what was relayed to you, everything.
He called me, I believe it was Sunday morning.
Okay, and this is
Or, yeah, Sunday morning.
Cole,
Yeah, Cole.
and this is, do you know his real name?
Walter Colson Rayborn.
Okay.
I need you to go through this. It helps when if you know everybody's full name, you can just tell them full name all the way through so you can keep the names straight. I know it's hard.
And okay, and he's your boyfriend. He called you Sunday.
And I think it was around like 7 in the morning when he called me. And he had told me
What number did he call from?
on his cell phone number. And
Do
I
you
don't
have
know.
that?
I have it in my phone. I
have it.
don't know it.
We have some text messages back and forth. If you're going, I told Jim if you wanted it.
Okay, yeah. Is that okay?
I got it right here.
Should, can I get a consent form?
Absolutely. Whatever you
I'll
want to
get a
do.
consent form.
Yeah.
I have them look at pertinent stuff.
Yeah.
459-7803.
This is the one I had from weeks ago. If it's
I
not
think
changed.
that's his name.
And if there were some threats on there that he had made to her previously that had gone back and forth, I didn't know how much of that you needed.
Okay.
And he had texted her some threatening information prior to this whole thing happening.
Okay. I do want to address one thing. There's two ways we can get information out of a phone. We can either do what's called a cell brag report, which extracts everything, or we can take digital photos. Is there anything that you don't want us looking at on your phone?
I would say just pictures that me and him have sent back and forth to one another. And really, there's just one on there.
Is there anything in those pictures that would be pertinent to this case
No.
at all? Nothing like
Nothing
that?
at all.
Okay.
Can you delete that photo before you give him the phone?
No, because it's like on it. The way the iPhones are now, like you can go back and it shows what you've sent, no matter if you've deleted it or not.
All right, we'll figure something out.
I mean,
They're not gonna be looking at your.
I don't care about that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm investigating a double homicide.
Yeah,
I don't care about that.
Yeah, you're not. They're
This
not
is
gonna.
their, if
Don't worry about it.
it gets seen, it gets seen. They're not going to be ones, but
Found you in bed together, so I can dig out the full picture.
Right. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with me?
Yeah.
Getting that information? Let me go get a consent form. I'll have your attorney look at it. It's our standard.
I know,
form.
it's the problem.
So-
I told her about it.
Just for her peace of mind.
Yeah,
I'll grab that real quick.
Yeah, they're not gonna be putting. See, I'll drop the thing in there, I'll just let it mix it up. Yeah. Tell him everything, just leave off the sex hours. I do, you know what I'm talking about, just don't get into that.
You want to look at that? before I fill it out?
Does this thing have a password code on it? And what's the passcode?
It's
Is it a thumbprint?
it's a thumbprint, but I've got an access code, but it's just the number. It's the center numbers all the way up. So
0850. 0852.
Yeah, that's what it would be.
All right, this is just the phone thing. What's the passcode?
0852.
All right. what this means is you're consenting to them taking the phone and doing the phone bright search. They're not going to worry about any photographs. And if you send an email, someone saying, hey, I want to buy a dime bag, they don't care about that crap either. But they're going to hold on to your phone and use it in conjunction with their investigation. And then the detective will notify me and I'll come pick the phone back up.
I may be able to get it done right now.
Yeah. So,
And just get it right back to you. Well, I'll take it out while we're doing this interview. You and I can talk, and then they can be working on that. And then hopefully, if they're not swamped, I'll ask them to try and expedite it so we can get it right back to you. I can't guarantee that, but I'll do my best.
yeah, if all else fails, I'll come get it. All right. There you go. Yeah. You can obviously find the text. There doesn't cross-reference his number. Okay. 416. Is this Apple?
Mhm.
iPhone? Bless you.
Up into like a parking lot, and I got out of the car and I went to him. I was like, "What's going on?" And he got out of the car. He didn't have a shirt on, and he had told me, "Dropping Brandon off at his house, and I'm coming to yours." And I said, "Okay, well, why don't you tell me what's going on?" He's like, "I can't talk on the phone about it, but it's something really, really bad." And I said, "Okay." And then it actually took him a couple hours to get back in touch with me. And then he finally called me when he was in Havana, and he had called me and said that he ran out of gas, so I needed to come into Havana and come get him. So I drove into like the middle of Havana, and when I pulled up, he was pushing his truck up into like a parking lot, and I got out of the car and I went to him and I was like, "What's going on?" And he got out of the car. He didn't have a shirt on, and he had told me that something had gone wrong and that he had killed 2 people, and I didn't really register in my mind. And so I was like, I don't know what to do. And he was like, I need to get my clothes off. I need to take all these clothes off. I need to burn them, this and that. And I was like, Cole, do you not realize where you are right now? Like, we're standing right by a road. There's cars coming by. Like, put your clothes on. Like, he was taking his clothes off and like he was basically hanging out of his pants. And I was like, you need to put your clothes on. So I put his clothes on and I was like, you need to go get in my car. And I got sat in my car and then I drove him up the road to a gas station. I bought a gas tank thing and I put like a couple $dollars in it and I went back to his truck and I filled his truck up. And I told him to follow me to his friend's house who also lived in Havana. His name is Gerald. And we went to his house, and once we got there, Cole took off all of his clothes and he put them in a barrel that Chris Gerald had in the back of his house, and he set it on fire. And then he came back, he got back in my car and we drove back to my house. And then me and him showered. And then after that, he got in the bed and he passed out for a couple of hours till later on that night. And when he woke up, he was, kissing on me and stuff. And I was like, I don't want to kiss you right now. Like, what the hell? What's going on?
Hello, Ferriger.
And he had looked down at.
So y'all can go back, of course, and just watch the videos on the channel. I'll show you the playlist again. This is the main one, the original playlist. I have several videos there. I have interviews of witnesses, both video and audio. I have case update. So video about one of the victims. This is a friend who almost went there the night in question. He called Lance Love a few minutes before the robbery took place and the murder. This is the lie detector test with the co-defendant, Mr. Brandon Chisholm, who is cooperating with the state. There's 2 videos of that. I don't know why. But there's one that I'm sure only one of them is public. This is an audio of an interview with an eyewitness who actually saw Walter Cole Rayborn jumping out of the window of the apartment. And obviously in that one, I do everything possible to protect the identity of the eyewitness. I also, of course, have the surveillance videos for you guys to take a look at. This is the interview of the lucky roommate right here, who was interviewed early in the investigation. Then also, this is a friend of the accused, a female friend who was interviewed as well. There are several videos of Walter Cole Rayborn. He did not go through an interrogation. He called his attorney, but he was photographed and kept on the interrogation room for a couple of hours or so. And so there's some short videos of each section that I got. I don't know. There are several videos from that. Maybe it wasn't 2 hours, maybe it was an hour, but they're doing a photo shoot where they're taking pictures of all his tattoos and his injuries. They're later doing a picture of his face, and I think they were taking some DNA sample as well, doing all those things. And in the meantime, his defense attorney came to the room, and you can hear her talking some of the time. Then obviously I have the full interrogation of Miss Delinda Mercedes Aguirre as well. So I wanted to bring this case to your attention because today again is the 6th year anniversary of the double murder, plus the murder of the dog at this apartment. The case is still pending. I'm gonna be keeping an eye on it. I don't expect the trial to be happening soon because, like I said, on the main defendant, Walter Cole Rayborn, new attorneys just joined the case. So I wanted to point this out to you guys so you keep an eye on this case. And if you haven't seen any of the videos on this case, you can go check them out on that playlist that I just showed you. Yes, and I try to follow, there are a few cases. I don't cover every case the same way. There's some cases that I cover in depth, like this one, like the Dan Markel murder, and many others. There are some cases that are suddenly of interest, and I may do a 1 or 2 videos about it, but I try to be as thorough as I can on all the cases that I cover. Okay? Yes, I do. By the way, I have communicated with the mother of Lancelot. That is just his real name. He was a nice, young, simple guy, had several sisters early in his life, and at 22, he was murdered. Whether it sounds like, stage name or whatever, doesn't matter. He's dead, and that's horrible for his family and for himself. Never got to experience life very much. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. I'm going to get back to work. I'm going to see if I have any new materials that I forgot about to publish tonight on the channel. If you guys have not heard yet, Emmy suddenly had to leave town to be with her family, and it appears that she was only going to work with us for 2 months. And so she was 3 weeks into working with us. She only had about 5 weeks to go. But now she had to move back with her family, so she could not finish the 2 months with me. I still hoped that things will change and maybe she'll still do a video or 2 with us. So we'll see. But it's back to just me now. Back to just me. So it's now just mentor lawyer. No Emmy Allison on the show. And I apologize for that. I know that a lot of you guys liked her. I'm hoping that as the channel grows and as the finances of the channel increase, I would love to be able to devote more money and time to hiring somebody that can go and film the trials live as they're happening while I'm working on my legal cases. So that's my hope was to have somebody for the summer to be able to go film those trials and play them live. Next week, for example, there's going to be a trial that starts on Tuesday of some lady who was totally mad at some other guy in the they were neighbors, and the guy had arrived, and I guess he had his highlights on and kept the highlights on for a while. And the lady was standing outside of her house, and the lights were on her face. So she got mad. They had an argument, and eventually she went inside, got a machete, and went to this guy's house and started to chase him with a machete. Luckily, she didn't catch him, but so there's the machete ugly case that we could have had next week if Amy had stayed around, but she left town. So now I don't have anybody to film that one. So if anybody wants to volunteer in Tallahassee, let me know. Also in the Dan Markel case, if anybody wants to volunteer to carefully study the video of the Luis Rivera testimony so that we can dispel and disprove the silly allegations from the killer from this case. The killer in this case claims that Luis Rivera told him that our favorite prosecutor, Georgia Kappelman, was giving him hand signs and color-coded folders so that he would know how to answer questions, which sounds completely absurd. And I want to prove how absurd it is by ordering the video from the courthouse of the testimony of Luis Rivera, where we can actually see what Georgia Kappelman is doing while the testimony is happening, so we can disprove the crazy allegations by this desperate guy who's just trying to cause trouble and get attention to himself. That's my opinion, of course. So everybody, again, thanks for watching. I hope you had a wonderful July 4th weekend, and you keep enjoying it. I'm assuming most of you have the day off. I decided to come into the office for a little bit. So until next time, Mental Lawyer. Yes, Nadine, that will be a riot. I definitely have to order that video. I actually I have sent a message to the court reporter at the Leon County Courthouse because I want to get the videos of Luis Rivera. I'm trying to figure out if she can find out exactly what days and hours he was testifying, and if I can just buy those CDs, and then maybe we can do the analysis together, or maybe somebody can volunteer to do it. All right, everybody, again, thanks for watching. Until next time, Mental Lawyer.